Hi, and welcome to another episode of SWITCHCast, a podcast delving into the world of film brought to you by the team at Switch. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Charlie David Page.
I'm Jess Fenton.
I'm Daniel Lemon.
And I'm Jake Watt.
It's Thursday the 7th of December 2017.
On this week's show, it's the most wonderful time of the year. Blow the dust off your well-worn VHS copies of Home Alone and Die Hard as the Switch team take you through our favourite Christmas flicks.
And as always, all our reviews and giveaways.
Let's get straight into it with Wonder Wheel. Jess jumped on for the ride, but did it leave you with a bit of motion sickness?
Yes, because Woody Allen made me do the unspeakable. I'll explain in a minute. Wonder Wheel is set in 1950s Coney Island. We have unhappy clam bar waitress Ginny, played by Kate Winslet, her alcoholic husband Humpty, who loves fishing, that's Jim Belushi, Ginny's adolescent pyromaniac son Richie, and Carolina, played by Juno Temple. She's Humpty's estranged daughter who's about to walk back into their lives after leaving her gangster husband and shake things up a bit. Their tale is being told to us by lifeguard Mickey, a grossly miscast Justin Timberlake, who just happens to be having an affair with Ginny.
You know she's a marked woman. Should she move on?
I know where all the bodies are buried.
Did he kiss you?
Why are you getting so heated?
I'm gonna find her.
My head is pounding. Everything's coming apart.
You look a little crazy to me.
When it comes to love, we often turn out to be our own worst enemy.
I know what it is you did.
Don't you think you're being a little melodramatic?
Do not bother with this one. Even for Woody Allen fans, for which I am one, Wonder Wheel is no good. I was so painfully bored for the entire 100-minute running time, I honest to God wanted to walk out, which is a rare feeling for me. Not a single likable or engaging character in sight. Nothing even remotely interesting happens. The glorious Kate Winslet is the most irritating thing about this movie. Woody Allen made me hate Kate Winslet. Her character Ginny is neurotic to the max, loud, relentless, shrill, and pathological. I wanted to throw something at the screen to make her shut the hell up, but the only thing in reach was my poor boyfriend Sam, who was enjoying the film about as much as I was. And this is going to sound odd, but the lighting and the colour choices in Wonder Wheel are bizarre and distracting to say the least. I'm still perplexed by what Alan was going for there. In short, I hated Wonder Wheel, and I'm giving it half a star because, I don't know, I think I laughed once.
Oh. Is that our first half? That's our first half-star review ever, isn't it?
Ever?
Ever, yeah.
Really?
My God.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
I didn't realize we did half-star
reviews.
reviews.
Goes to Woody Allen.
No, I saw like Scary Movie 5 or something like that. Did I not give that half a star? I don't know. God, that was so long ago. Bad memories. Bad memories. Bad.
Yeah, you never gave that one half a star, sorry.
Transformers last night got off really easy. I didn't even realize that I could go lower than 1 star. I feel kind of ripped off now. I want to...
We're all retroactively going back and rethinking all our reviews now.
I know, right?
Thank you, Woody Allen, for giving us this gift.
I feel like, I don't know, Charlie, can I get like a plaque or an award? Financial or otherwise? I don't know. I feel like it should be marked somehow.
I think the privilege of knowing that you are the first half-star review is more than enough reward.
I'll take it. Bragging rights. I'll take it.
So, Jess, have you seen many, have you seen a lot of modern Woody Allen movies? Like, have you seen much of his stuff?
Yes. I'm actually less familiar with his earlier 60s, 70s, 80s work. I'm more of a modern Woody Allen gal.
Where would you say this kind of falls on his, like, sort of shitness scale?
Like the tippy top of the shitness scale.
And that's like, there's a lot of shitness on that scale, like of the last few decades.
I know, like I haven't seen every single Woody Allen film, but of the ones that I've seen, this is my most hated one.
That's pretty bad because his movies can be quite bad.
Yeah, no, I genuinely wanted to walk out, and I dragged my poor boyfriend along to see it with me, and he wanted to walk out, and he kept giving me like these looks saying, "Can we go? Can we go?" And I was like, "No, I can't because I have to review this film." And I'm like, "Wait, if I walk out of a film, that says something in itself." And I couldn't. I'm just so sad that I wasted all that time. A whole 100 minutes of my life gone.
Does he get any good sort of performances out of anybody in this? Does anyone kind of emerge unscathed from this movie?
No. I guess acting-wise, I was so focused on how much I hated this movie and how horrible the characters were. But you know what? That might be a testament to it because I never saw Juno Temple or Kate Winslet. I just saw these really, really just odious characters.
She has said publicly that she found the part one of her most challenging because she was so irritated by her own character. So hearing you say that doesn't surprise me, but it's a pretty staggering achievement to even make Kate Winslet not be good in your film. Like, I know. She's great in everything, even shitty films. Because she's Kate Winslet.
Even the mountain between us.
Winslet. I love Kate Winslet.
And he has such a great track record with working with great actors, particularly women, and bringing out incredible performances in them. Oftentimes performances that trick you into thinking the film is actually good. Like, think of Blue Jasmine. You've got, Kate Blanchett and Sally Hawkins being incredible, hiding the fact that the film is basically a really lazy remake of A Streetcar Named Desire. And when you think about Vicky Cristina Barcelona, all you can think about is Rebecca Hall and Penelope Cruz. They just dominate it. And when you think back, you go, oh, that wasn't a very good film. It's quite a surprise that even in this one where he has arguably one of the greatest actors of their generation, and yet he's still not able to pull together a great film with Kate fucking Winslet in it.
Well, so can I point out something? This is completely unrelated, but it's something that I realised after I saw the film. I've just written down, I've got 6 titles here written down in my notes in films in which Kate Winslet plays an adulterer. Does that seem strange to anyone? She constantly plays cheating women.
Kate Winslet does.
Yeah. Even in a good way, like in Titanic, she was cheating on her fiancé the whole time with Leonardo DiCaprio. And I mean, why wouldn't you? But still,
she was cheating.
Like, I've got Wonder Wheel, Mountain Between Us, Revolutionary Road,
So
Little Children, Titanic, and Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. She plays a cheating woman, and I just find that really interesting.
Maybe it's less that she has a tendency to play women, like cheating women, because that's such a weird phrase anyway. More that she seems to be consistently interested in characters that would be traditionally deemed unlikable or have qualities that wouldn't be seen as endearing qualities. Look at the part she played in The Reader, even in The Dressmaker. Yeah, she seems to like to go for difficult characters. She says that's one of the things that she said she found this particular character very irritating. Maybe this is finally the straw that broke the camel's back for Kate Winslet.
Anyway, well, you can find my full review, if you dare, at maketheswitch.com.au, and Wonder Wheel is in cinemas now.
Also out today is In This Corner of the World. Jake caught this possible Oscar contender, but would it be a worthy winner for Best Animated Film?
It's 1935 and Suzu, voiced by Non, is a young girl who lives in Iba, a town in Hiroshima. She's an exceptional artist with a vibrant imagination and an adventurous approach to life. Her pleasant childhood existence is rocked when, as a teenager, she receives an out-of-the-blue marriage proposal from a stranger, voiced by Yoshimasa Hoisoya. Life with his family in Kyoto forces Suzu into a daily routine of cleaning and cooking, all while longing for her family back in Iba. Several Japanese anime films, such as Barefoot Gen, have powerfully dealt with the aftermath of Allied bombing runs over Japan during World War II. In This Corner of the World is not an account of the Hiroshima bombing itself, nor is it a heavy-going war drama on par with the devastatingly depressing Grave of the Fireflies. Co-written and directed by Tsuneo Katabuchi, and reminiscent of many of Studio Ghibli's best works, In This Corner of the World not only looks beautiful, but its animation style plays a big part in its story. The film whips us through dreams from Suzu's childhood, some of which unfold in her own sketches, others with a sketchiness that suggests her own artistic talents are colouring the way she views the world. Even aerial battles in the skies above Hiroshima look like rainbow-coloured splashes of ink. Katabuchi's previous films are better known in the West among anime nerdlingers, rather than general film fans, although he has a large following in France. But the incredibly moving and sobering In This Corner of the World should be the film to change that. 4 stars.
So on a scale of 1 to Grave of the Fireflies, how much is this going to be an emotionally devastating experience to watch?
So I'd say I guess if Grave of the Fireflies is 5 out of 5 wartime atrocities, I would say this would probably be, maybe 3, maybe kind of a mild pogrom or scourging of the countryside or whatever. It's pretty sad. But the majority of the film is is a drama. So it takes place in Japan, ground level, and it's just the sort of day-to-day life of a farming community. And then there's just these kind of vague hints of stuff happening in the background, and it's the war basically, but they don't realize it until they're being bombed, which happens much later in the film.
It sounds like it has elements that mix, Miyazaki's The Wind Rises with a bit of The Tale of the Princess Kaguya a bit.
Yeah, probably not quite as accomplished in terms of the overall aesthetic of the movie. I mean, that's some pretty peerless stuff. This one's more obvious that it's based on a manga.
Oh, okay.
So it's tons of tiny moments all kind of glued together, which was pretty much the only thing which prevented me from giving it a full 5 out of 5 was the fact that if you blink for 2 seconds or look down to stir your coffee or whatever, you're going to miss about 5 different little segments of the film because it just it goes through so quickly. But it's totally absorbing, and I sort of never cry at all generally because I'm made of steel.
Because you're a man, mate.
This movie
you're
actually
an Aussie
towards
male.
the end.
You don't cry. Old Yeller, what the fuck is that?
I don't like to brag, but towards the end of this movie, it does get pretty not Fireflies sad, but because that to me is too much. That's that movie is so sad. You watch it once, you never want to watch it again.
You don't even have to wait to be sad in that. It happens in the first 5 minutes. It just happens, and you're like, oh fuck, I'm broken as a soul. Thank you for that.
Exactly. It's kind of a bit of an endurance test of a movie, which I guess is the point of it, because you're supposed to sort of really empathize with these kids who are enduring this wartime environment. But anyway, this movie is way more easy to watch than that. But post aerial bombardment and post atomic bomb drop, when they're sort of picking through the devastation and trying to work out what's actually happened to them. Because these are just sort of regular civilians. That's when it gets sort of pretty sad, and it's ugh, this is kind of grueling. But at the same time, it has a really nice message, because it's the overall message towards the end is that Japan's society is so strong that even in the face of this kind of horrific damage, these people are still they're a community. Even when it happens, they're not even too sure what's happened, but they all start sort of banding together to help each other out. And
it's quite beautiful in the way in the anime films that Japan makes dealing with the Second World War and the bombing of Hiroshima always seem to have a tremendous amount of grace to them, very gentle, beautiful quality to them. So yeah, all this makes this sound very exciting. Very, very exciting.
So Jake, you've expressed the fact it's quite a heavy film. You also expressed the fact that it's quite a good film. You gave it 4 stars. It is one of 26 animated features that have been submitted for the 2017 Oscar category, as I mentioned in the intro. And it's up against films like Boss Baby, Cars 3, Captain Underpants, the first epic movie, Despicable Me 3, and at its peak, the Emoji Movie. How do you think it will compare to the likes of those?
Look, man, I already had my heart crushed when the Red Turtle got beaten by Zootopia. So my heart's pretty hard. This is the best animated movie I've seen all year. Do I expect everyone else to kind of appreciate that? Probably not. As I said, Red Turtle being beaten by Zootopia, I'm well aware of this pretty shitty dystopian society we live in.
Japanese anime has not fared well with the Oscars. They always realistically, The Wind Rises should have beaten Frozen, and Princess Kaguya should have beaten Big Hero 6, and Red Turtle should have beaten Zootopia. I mean, yeah, it's just they get nominated, but they really the big ones always kind of take it out.
In This Corner of the World is in cinemas now, and check out my full review at maketheswitch.com.au.
Also out today is The Secret Scripture, starring Rooney Mara, Vanessa Redgrave, Jack Raynor, Theo James, and Eric Bana. It tells the story of Rose McNulty, a woman who has spent over 50 years in Irish state institutions, and Dr. Green is compelled to uncover her past and help her find freedom.
Rose, I want to hear your story.
1942. When the war came to Belfast, out of the sky he came. We have to go. It was like stepping into a fairy tale.
You're not from around here, are you?
Are you a policeman?
I'm not.
I'm pregnant.
She was in the car with the priest, you know.
They're saying it's the priest's baby.
The Secret Scripture is a story of love, lost and redeemed, set against the backdrop of an emerging Irish state in which female sexuality and independence unsettles the patriarchies of church and nationalist politics. The film is brought to life by 6-time Academy Award nominee and acclaimed writer-director Jim Sheridan, based on Sebastian Barry's Man Booker Prize-winning novel.
So this has an amazing cast. I'm a big fan of Jack Rayner and go Eric Bana. Woohoo! But before we started recording this podcast, we were all talking about it and we're discussing how this film, like none of us have actually seen it, but this film definitely is going to straddle the line between good and bad, where it could go, it can go down the bad road or the good road.
The caliber of the cast is pretty impressive. The caliber of Jim Sheridan's obviously very impressive. The story does sound really interesting, but it also sounds like it could be a complete wet rag, like a mess.
Has anyone seen a poster for this? Has anyone seen a trailer playing on TV or in the cinema for this? Or
on Instagram, actually, quite a bit. Transmission, I think, is releasing in Australia, and they've been pushing it a little bit on social media. I have noticed it popping up a lot more than I would expect.
I was going to say, Jim Sheridan has done some like pretty amazing Irish movies, like especially with like Daniel Day-Lewis. You know, My Left Foot, In the Name of the Father, The Boxer. He did like a really awesome movie with Paddy Considine called In America. So the guy is like a fantastic filmmaker. Then again, one of his last movies was Get Rich or Die Trying with 50 Cent. And this really shitty remake of the German movie Brothers. So I don't know, this is kind of like one of those ones where it's like you have like a director who has an awesome body of work behind him, but his last few films have been like ultra shithouse. So this could fall.
I remember seeing that movie. That was terrible. It was like not at all what I expected it to be about. Anyway.
But returning to Irish form, maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's a positive.
Because I mean, all those films are some of the foundation stones of what we now think of as modern Irish cinema. Like that, films like My Left Foot and In the Name of the Father are, they're this acknowledged classics.
Have you guys seen In America? It's one of the most beautiful films.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's worth a squiz.
A squiz.
Yeah, I like squiz.
I like hearing Jake say the word squiz.
I say it way too much.
It's up there with his uh-oh.
Uh-oh. If you're in the mood for it, Get Rich or Die Trying does have some comedy value if you are into the music of 50 Cent. And want to know more about the mean streets upon which he grew up upon.
50 made his mark.
Yeah.
50?
Yes.
50 Cent, I love you! Everyone, that's not all I know about 50 Cent is the scene in Spy where Miranda just throws herself at him. Like, that's my knowledge of 50 Cent. 50 Cent, I love you.
That's all you need to know.
Her just, sitting in the airplane. He wants me.
You did that so well.
I've watched that film more times than is healthy.
But have you watched Miranda, her TV series? It is the best.
Yeah. She's great.
Such fun.
Wow, we
fun.
have deviated. We
Such
have
fun.
deviated from the film.
I don't know,
talking about
Let's talk more
Miranda.
about Miranda Hart. She's fabulous. Such fun.
He wants
Such
me.
Okay, let's get this show back on track, people. Let's check out the upcoming releases in our trailer wrap. Here's the first look at Avengers Infinity War.
There was an idea to bring together a group of remarkable people.
To see if we could become something more.
So when they needed us, we could fight the battles
that they never could.
In time, you will know what it's like to lose. To feel so desperately that you're right, yet to fail all the same. Dread it. Run from it. Destiny still arrives.
Evacuate the city. Engage all defenses. And get this man a shield.
Oh my god, okay. I
think
am.
only dogs heard that response.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm so excited. I'm a massive Marvel fan. I know that Daniel and Jake have issues with it, but I don't care. I'm huge Marvel fan. The DCEU can go eat a dick. I don't care about you guys. And this is
Some
like...
of us don't have a problem with that. Thank you very much.
And this one is like the creme de la creme of the creme de la creme in terms of Marvel films. It's reported to have 67 Marvel characters in this film alone.
And a budget of $4 billion for the cast.
4 gazillion trillion quadrillion billion.
Doesn't that worry you though?
No, this is what they've spent the last decade building towards.
I know, but I'm with you. I mean, my opinion on the trailer is kind of separate. I don't think it's a good trailer at all. I think it's a really badly made trailer. But I am excited because I love what the Russo brothers have done with the Captain America films. The two writers in the film have written all the Captain America films, which I think the Captain America films are the strongest in the whole franchise. Mm-hmm. But 60-something Marvel characters? It was pretty incredible that they pulled off Civil War. I remember watching that and going, this is the thing that Joss Whedon could never solve, which was how do you make a Marvel film with this many heroes in it and make it work? I have a certain degree of confidence, but I still wonder, is this not just going to be too big for them to handle?
But it's also ushering in the next generation because we've seen, the Marvel Cinematic Universe has always talked about phases, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. This is the film. This is kind of like the beginning of the end of this part. Like all of the characters that we've come to know and love over the last decade are on their way out and the new ones are on their way in, and this is sort of part 1. Avengers 4 is going to be sort of part 2 of the ushering, the changing of the guards, the passing of the baton, if you will, of all these fabulous new characters.
Come on, Jess, more sports cliches. Come on.
Sorry. Who's on first?
With the phases though, it's these Captain America and Thor and Iron Man and whoever, they're worth so much money now, and so I just don't really believe that these characters are going to be phased out in a serious way. It's kind of like Marvel just going, okay, we'll trap them in some sort of lame-o pocket dimension or down a hole somewhere or whatever, and have a Captain America free year, and we'll bring them,
pluck them out when we feel
pretty much.
They need a new wing on their mansion.
Look, I have confidence in the Russo brothers because they showed a tremendous amount of intelligence with the 2 films they've done so far. But I don't know, it also worries me the fact that this is the thing they've been building up to the whole time. Is it just going to be too much? Is it just going to be overblown? Is it going to just be ticking every single box imaginable? I mean, the great thing about the Captain America films was that no one cared and was paying attention, so they were able to make really interesting films. The same way that James Gunn was able to do the same thing with Guardians of the Galaxy. And again, the trailer itself is really lazy. It's not even trying to sell you the film. It's badly edited. It's made up entirely of shots of superheroes either looking very pensive off into the distance or running in slow motion, with the least impressive debut of, a character which we've been watching on 30-second snippets for fucking 20-something years, which is, this giant pink penis person. But even when Thanos walked on screen, I went,
that's Mr.
I thought this guy was a big deal. The trailer I don't think is a success at all. I went, I'm less excited by this.
I was bored by it. I was just kind of, it was a bit of a shoulder shrug for me, I guess. Charlie, what did you think?
I think it's pretty much like every other Avengers trailer from the last few years. It doesn't tell me anything about the film. It doesn't make me excited for the film. I don't mind the films themselves. They're probably the better parts of the whole Marvel franchise, but it definitely didn't sell me to go buy a ticket for it, that's for sure.
Put it this way, it lacks
its presence.
It lacked the punch and the spunk and the surprise of the trailer for Black Panther, which was a great trailer and had a great punch to it. I just watched that and went, after all the Thor trailers and the Black Panther trailers, this is what you come up with? Really?
Leave them wanting more.
And they'll leave them wanting something at all. God.
There will be so much more. It's inevitably going to be hours in duration. You can catch Avengers Infinity War in Australian cinemas from the 25th of April 2018. Now let's take a look at Love, Simon.
My name's Simon. I'm just like you, except I have one huge-ass secret.
Hey!
Nobody knows I'm gay. Sometimes I feel like I'm stuck on a Ferris wheel. One minute I'm on top of the world, then the next I'm at rock bottom. I've been thinking about why I haven't come out yet. Maybe part of me wants to hold on to who I've always been, just a little longer. No matter what, announcing who you are to the world is pretty terrifying, because what if the world doesn't like you?
I've always been a massive sucker for these teen drama films. 2013, my favourite film of that year was Perks of Being a Wallflower. I loved Me and Earl and the Dying Girl. So, I mean, already this was the kind of film that's, my jam. But a friend of mine actually posted this on my Facebook wall. I was kind of vaguely aware of it, but he posted it on my wall and I went, oh, that's unusual for him to do that. So I watched the trailer and I found it from a technical perspective, terrific trailer, from a narrative perspective, really interesting film. But the big surprise for me was having a character say in the trailer that they're gay. It's not a joke. It's not them throwing shade at somebody. It's a character just saying it. And a trailer built entirely around making it clear to you that the main character of this film is not a heterosexual and that that's the point of the film. Even the Call Me By Your Name trailer was a little coy to begin with about whether it's about queer characters. This one just puts it out there. And it was quite a surprise to me. And realizing that this is not something we get to see very often in advertising for a film, where the fact that it's about a gay character is actually the point. Did any of you have that same reaction to it?
I can't say that I specifically had that reaction to it. I mean, I, like you, latched onto the fact that it was kind of this teen drama, but it was told from the perspective of a gay guy, I guess. It looks like it could be a really interesting film. It has a lot of potential. And I love a good piece of queer cinema as much as the next homosexual, but I didn't like the part of the trailer where it says, from the producers of The Fault in Our Stars. That is the one part that concerns me, in the fact that possibly they may take the schmaltz up too far.
I mean, that may just be that they're attached to it in some vague way. I mean, the director is behind a lot of the CW DC TV series, all of which have a great amount of schmaltz in them, but they're all a lot of fun. And the writing team is actually the writing team behind This Is Us. I've not watched it, but I've heard that it is a sentimental and quite brutal show. So I don't know. I mean, it also, the cinematography looks really great. It's really beautifully edited. There seems to be a lot of care in it. It went from being a film that I was vaguely aware of to being very high on the list of films I'm looking forward to for next year, particularly coming off the back of a year where we've had Call Me By Your Name, God's Own Country, Beach Rats, BBM, and Fantastic Woman are around the corner.
The director, Greg Bellatani. So he's the guy who is the primary kind of architect behind those DC CW shows like Arrow and Flash and Supergirl and that type of stuff. And he is gay, and he's also, I guess, made an effort to make those TV shows, which are based on like comics that are just like pure, white bread comics, like sort of, white, like, primarily white heterosexual comics. But he's like sort of made an effort for those TV shows to have like a great amount of like diversity in terms of like homosexual characters and characters of different races and things like that. So like the guy's like a pretty socially aware, creative dude.
He's also partly involved in Riverdale as well, which is a good indication, because, I mean, that in itself, as much as it is a oftentimes very cliche and very silly show, it's surprisingly also quite an astute show, particularly when it comes to representation and sexuality. So, yeah, I think that everything about the team kind of suggests to me that maybe this might be something special. And, it's been a while since we've had one of these really punchy, powerful teen dramas, which every few years we get a really good one. So hopefully this is it. Plus, it's just nice to see Nick Robinson not playing an asshole in a film. Because I've always thought he was a really good actor, just doing really bad characters. So I warmed to him instantly in this trailer, and I hope that it makes me an emotional mess.
Let's hope it lives up to everything that we want it to, which we'll hopefully see in Australian cinemas in 2018. All right, finally, let's take a look at the trailer for Mary Magdalene.
Your family says you grapple with the demon.
If there's a demon in me, it's always been there.
There are no demons here. Mary of Magdala. She will do God's will.
Why shouldn't she follow me? People will judge us.
Are we so different from men? You must teach us different things.
Sometimes it's as if I'm not here at all.
Is that what it feels like to be one with God?
No one has ever asked me how it feels.
So this is from the director of Lion, which also starred Rooney Mara.
Barely. I mean, it barely starred Rooney Mara, but sure.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, Rooney Mara just had, like, not much of a role. She was kind of the girlfriend, the understanding girlfriend.
Her job was to stand there and hold what's-his-face while he emoted everywhere.
What's his face? It's Dev Patel.
Dev Patel. I don't remember much about that part of the film. I love the film, by the way. I loved the film, but I did not love him in it.
I see kind of like Mary Magdalene as being in this kind of, he's gone, okay, well, I owe you one for that because you're a bit, underserved in that movie. So I'm going to like cast you as like the edgiest kind of, prostitute role I can think of. And that is like, Mary Magdalene.
They seem to downplay the whole working gal thing in that trailer. Like not once did they hint at it or mention it.
That would be because it's not true. That is a fabrication
Are we seriously
that was
debating
created.
What is and isn't true in the Bible?
Yes, a lot of the Bible isn't true. Thank you very much. So from memory,
really,
the decision a lot like the divinity of Christ and the naming of Salome, as linking back to the National Theatre Live review we did a few weeks ago. I have from memory, Mary Magdalene was only named as a prostitute once the Bible was constructed and when they were trying to basically come up with the watertight story. And I think it was to remove the concept that women were important figures of Christ's church and Christ's teaching.
Oh.
From memory, I think I found this out from the fucking Da Vinci Code, but I think I looked into it because I went, okay, that's interesting. I'd like to know
Which
more
is
about
also
that.
100% true.
But yeah, the idea being that they were trying to downplay the idea that women were intrinsic to Christ's teachings. And that also links to when they started to play with the idea of original sin and the idea that women were inherently sinful. So I have a feeling that may be the reason why it's not mentioned in the trailer, and it may be the reason why he's making the film. Because realistically, the traditional story that we know is problematic to the hilt.
I never saw Passion of the Christ. Like, did Monica Bellucci play Mary Magdalene in Passion of the Christ?
Did. Yes.
Was that, or am I just imagining that?
Yeah. I mean, that's also the problem with this trailer is that it brings up memories of that film. And I quite liked Passion of the Christ, but it was not an easy film.
Yeah.
So I just want to talk about the black elephant in the room. Why is it that Chiwetel Ejiofor is the only person of color in this film?
Yeah,
Why is Jesus' mother the only one with an accent?
There's quite a few Middle Eastern actors in it. It actually has got quite an ethnically diverse cast. It just seems to be that they're the one they're pushing with because he's an Oscar nominee and because he's a recognizable name. The accents were what was more bizarre.
Joaquin Phoenix sounds like he's on something. He sounds like he's
It's Joaquin Phoenix. He probably was on something.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Honestly.
Yeah, it seems, I mean, again, it's hard to kind of tell from a trailer. It seems a very confused way to sell the film. I'm not entirely sure what it is that they were selling with it. And again, not a particularly well put together film. But it's, it's Garth Davies. So that instantly grabs my interest. And it's got 2 female screenwriters. So at least there's a female voice in some respect in this in a story that is about a misunderstood, misrepresented woman.
As we become like more and more like, I guess, aware of like casting and stuff and socially conscious, I always think these movies are going to become like harder and harder to cast because, there are arguments that Jesus was actually, black or at least pretty brown.
He wasn't an Anglo-Saxon person at all because that part, yeah.
Well, you can catch Mary Magdalene in Australian cinemas from the 22nd of March 2018, just in time for Easter. And finally, there's a new trailer out for All the Money in the World, this time featuring Christopher Plummer. We all wondered if Ridley Scott could do it, but it looks like he's actually pulled it off.
This is amazing. Like really, like if you think, like it's quite amazing that he actually did this. He comes in and goes...
And ahead of schedule from all sounds of it.
Yeah, I mean, it really does emphasize the fact that this is the only person who could ever do this. But how did you guys react to seeing him in the trailer? Because I had quite a surprising response. What did you guys think when he popped up?
I was fascinated by the idea that Christopher Plummer doesn't have any prosthetics on his face, like Kevin Spacey did. And I wondered if it was due to time constraints because of the reshoot and he didn't have time to spend 8 hours in a makeup chair every day having, a fake chin and nose and whatever else put on him.
Or due to the fact that Spacey's prosthetics were horrendously bashed online.
Maybe,
Before he was physically.
but also, the time constraint thing.
It does call into question why they didn't cast an age-appropriate actor to begin with.
I saw this sort of old man come on the screen, and I just went to myself, oh my god, Ridley Scott has managed to cast an old man as an old man. Truly, this is like a visionary filmmaker.
For the first time,
I guess he sort of went he went the long way around. I mean, he didn't go for Guy Pearce, and he didn't sort of just slather Guy Pearce and rubber again. He tried it with Kevin Spacey, so he took the long way around. But then he eventually got there and cast an old man as an old man, and that is why they pay Ridley Scott the big bucks.
Inspired.
I was blown away.
But I remember when I saw the first TV spot with the footage of him cutting, and I felt like I was watching one of those fan-made trailers off the internet, or one of those Funny or Die trailers, because it was the same shots, and he's standing there they're like, what will you give to have your grandson back? And he just goes, nothing. And I just go, oh my god, it's literally what someone has remade this trailer with a fan edit. But already I thought he was doing a better job than Kevin Spacey did. Because Kevin Spacey was always it was weird. It was weird in that.
I will say it's impressive the turnaround time they've had on this reshoot. But the one thing which stood out to me about this trailer was, regardless of the actors in it, it's actually a lot less interesting a trailer to watch than the original one. I thought it was a lot more shambolic, a lot more chaotic. Maybe they have other things on their mind at the moment, but still, I don't think it sells the movie as well as the first trailer did.
It doesn't concoct the period as well as the first trailer. Doesn't give you...
certainly amped the excitement factor up.
But the fact that they've gone through this whole process is just this monumental marketing ploy for them too. It's going to get twice as many people going to the cinemas now. The fact that they know that this has happened. So, they've got to see that final result. They've got to see if it's an extended version of a YouTube video that's been fan-made or if it's an actual movie.
And look, I remember the first trailer emphasized Kevin Spacey a lot. It seems like now they're trying to flip it to make people more intrigued by the film, to be less intrigued by that, by Spacey's obviously now non-presence. It's a weird one. It's a weird piece of advertising.
And to check out all those trailers and more, head to youtube.com/MakeTheSwitchAU.
I feel it in my fingers. I feel it in my toes. Christmas is all around us, and the list of favourite movies to watch this time of year grows. Isn't it magical, boys and girls? The lights are on the tree, there's glitter and wrapping paper offcuts everywhere, and Love Actually will inevitably be gracing our TV screens any day now. So what are your top Christmas movie picks? Oh, I'm so excited. This is one of my favourite. Yes, I'm calling it a genre. It's one of my favourite movie genres ever. So we're going to, if you're listening at home, on the bus, on the train, wherever, we're about to give you, grab a pen and paper because we're about to give you our top Christmas movie picks. We're going to give you a classic. We're going to give you an alternative. I'm going to start us off. Classic movie film. Okay, I'm actually going to go a little bit off book because this isn't a classic yet, but I'm pushing for it. It is 12 years old, and I think it's kind of getting up there as it's finding it's a bigger and bigger audience, because this movie is one of the funniest movies ever. I laugh just as hard now at it as I did 12 years ago when it first came out. So my top quote unquote classic Christmas movie is Just Friends.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, anyone seen it? It's got Anna Faris in it, Ryan Reynolds, Amy Smart. You guys remember Amy Smart? Amy Smart. It is seriously one of the funniest movies you will ever see in your entire life. Anyone back me up?
Sorry, I've never seen it.
I have no idea what you're talking
about. I remember it, but
Okay.
I don't know. I didn't see it.
Oh, man. Anna Faris plays a crazy pop star, like this seriously insane pop star, and Ryan Reynolds and her end up getting stuck in New Jersey, which is where Ryan Reynolds grew up back when he was a fat teenager, and now he's hot and skinny and really rich and bags all the babes, and he's trying to get to his high school crush / best friend Amy Smart, who put him in the friend zone all those years ago, and he reckons that this is now he's in after being away for 10 years and becoming hot and skinny and stuff. And so he's trying to get with her, but he's got this crazy brother and crazy Anna Faris, and it all goes haywire. And it's seriously, you will wet yourself. It's so funny. Anna Faris is queen.
Well, that's true.
Yes,
that's
queen.
so true.
Yes, queen. All right, so none of you guys have barely heard of Just Friends, and I'm sitting here because the cheese stands alone. But now you guys get to go out, find it, and fall in love with it just as much as I did. Charlie, your classic Christmas movie, go.
For you guys who know me well, Christmas is not my favorite time of year.
Hocus Pocus is not a Christmas movie. You can't say that.
They're wearing red, okay? So as much as I would love any kind of Grinch movie to be my favorite Christmas film, I don't think there's actually a good one as of yet. There is another one coming in 2018, so maybe that will be an improvement on Jim Carrey's. But my choice is actually one that does go back to my childhood, back when Christmas was a much more innocent time. It is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, which is actually a 1964 animation. It is extremely
the stop
cute.
motion one. They're great.
It's like the kind of claymation one. Yeah, it's spectacular. It's full of these amazing songs which were written for this movie. And weirdly, I started watching it again a couple of days ago in preparation for this, and I was actually able to sit there and like quote and sing along to all these things. I watched it so many times as a kid. It was one of those ones we had on VHS that we got for like $2 from a discount store somewhere, and it was on loop every single Christmas. And it's adorable. It's really cute and very innocent, and it also has some of the most ridiculous things that you've ever heard of in a film, like an elf who wants to be a dentist and the abominable snowman. It's so obscure and ridiculous and funny and adorable that I couldn't go past recommending this one.
It's a standard in the US. Like it defines Christmas for a lot of people for many generations, that particular TV special. Like I'm the same. I remember, I think we had it on VHS as well, and I watched it regardless whether it was Christmas or not. I forgot about the elf who wanted to be a dentist.
I've never seen it.
It's very weird.
All right, Daniel, what's your pick? Classic. Go.
Well, look, I had to think about this, and I just keep coming back to the same one, which is kind of lazy because it's the one I was talking about last week, and that's the Muppet Christmas Carol. I just love it. I mean, on top of the fact that it's a really great adaptation of A Christmas Carol, I also think it's the best Muppets film. It casts all of the Muppets in really great parts. The music is really good. Michael Caine is great in it and actually giving the Muppets the time of day and actually not just kind of phoning in his performance. It's dark, it's funny, it's clever, it's silly, but it has a really beautiful heart to it. Yeah, that's mine. Muppet Christmas Carol. It's one that I try and watch every Christmas. I actually tried to get Paul to see it because he's never seen it, my fiance. And I made the mistake of putting it on while we were doing the Christmas tree last year. So he still hasn't seen it because he was too busy focused on the fucking Christmas tree.
On the colourful, bright decorations. Yeah.
While I'm like singing all the songs. Yeah, Muppet Christmas Carol, that's my classic pick.
Nice. Okay. Excellent choice. Jake, go.
So, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, starring Chevy Chase as Clark Griswold and Randy Quaid as Cousin Eddie. There are a lot of Christmas movies out there, but I would say this is easily the best one ever made, I think. And also the last of the National Lampoon series to actually be called a National Lampoon film, and written by John Hughes. If you're a film snob.
Yes, my idol.
Yeah.
Absolute nutter idol.
If you're a film snob and you're like, oh, I'm better than National Lampoon, this is written by John Hughes, so it actually does have some kind of cred. Just a really, really funny movie.
It feels like a stepping stone to Home Alone as well. Like there's actually quite a few similarities between them.
Yeah, just like sort of Christmas, like sort of hijinks and traps and almost kind of like a bit of a home invasion vibe with the unwelcome family members. And personally, I just think it touches on these like really classic themes of these family get-togethers where it's a bunch of people who you might not really like, but you trap with them over Christmas, so you kind of have to make do, and that kind of interesting dynamic that occurs. Yeah, so National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation is my pick.
Oh, great choice. And that is a classic. Okay, now we're going to give you like a little alternative twist. So this where Christmas might not be the theme, but it is present. Again, I'm going to kick us off. Okay, ready? One of the greatest films ever. And it features Christmas. Lethal Weapon. Boom! Mic drop. So you can tell it's Christmas because the beginning of the movie starts with a Christmas song, and then it has, the girl with her tartars hanging out, jumping off a balcony and killing herself. So, it's a fun movie for the family. It is a buddy cop comedy, if you want to put it there. But yes, Christmas is the background sort of theme of the film. So Lethal Weapon, so good they made 4 of them. What up, what up, what up?
Yes, because quality comes from quantity.
Yeah.
Of course.
Damn straight.
Shane Black was the dude who wrote it, and like all Shane Black's movies are like awesome Christmas movies. Lethal Weapon's obviously the best one, but all of them are have really good Christmas themes.
I'd never thought of that. You're so right. They're all set at Christmas.
Iron Man 3. Really? All of these movies have Christmas themes. It's like his
Just wait for the Christmas part in The Predator. That's what we're all waiting for. How can he weave Christmas into The Predator?
Exactly, yeah. That's probably a future Christmas classic. Predators.
Hey, Jacob Tremblay, here's your Christmas present. Oh, thank you. I'll open it up. Predator comes out.
All right, Charlie, what's your alternative Christmas flick?
Well, funnily enough, I also have a Shane Black film.
Do it,
and
baby.
I also have a very family unfriendly film. It's not the first time I've talked about this on the podcast. It will not be the last.
Yeah.
It is Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Yes!
It is easily one of my top 10 favorite movies of all time.
That's a good one.
Because it is the only comedy crime neo-noir Christmas film ever. Basically, we follow this guy who's brought over to Hollywood to become an actor who is shadowing a private eye for a role that he's up for, and they actually get tangled up in this real-life murder investigation. But it's set at Christmas time. It has Michelle Monaghan in some of the most ludicrous Christmas outfits that you will ever see. She is honestly extremely unclad in a lot of this film. And there's also one of the freakiest Christmas parties that you will ever see on film. It's utterly disturbing. But it's also this beautifully heartwarming film that you should not share with your family because it's full of killing and murder and swearing and people losing fingers to dogs.
And incest and pedophilia and...
oh, yes, there's a bit of that too.
Yeah.
Sorry, I forgot
and Gay
about those
Perry
things.
and all of the above. All right, Shane Black, the unofficial king of Christmas. I love it. All right, let's keep this good times going. Daniel, what you got for us?
Okay, well, I do have one definite Christmas tradition, and that is that every year I watch this film on Christmas Day. Someone else suggested one that may usurp it. Someone mentioned to me that Carol is set at Christmas, so maybe I might have to throw Carol into the mix. This is one I do watch every year, my Christmas film, my number one Christmas film, and that is Eyes Wide Shut.
What?
Stanley Kubrick's final film, his 2-hour, 40-minute sex epic, is set at Christmas. So every year,
you watch that
I
every
want
year?
you in the mood for that family
every
gathering.
year, I watch Eyes Wide Shut because I'll often have to spend Christmas by myself because I work and because of my family interstate. So when I do, I settle at home, put on my Blu-ray, and watch those people with masks walk around going, oh, wah, 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 wah. And, I just thought, what's the most...
Close the
I remember
blinds.
one day going, what's the most subversive Christmas film I could possibly think of? And went, wait, Eyes Wide Shut is set at Christmas. I know this because Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise are shopping for Christmas presents when Nicole Kidman tells him that they need to go home and fuck. And that's when the film ends. So, yeah, there you go. Take that, Shane Black. Stanley Kubrick's the king of Christmas.
Oh, my God. You sick little puppy. All right, Jake, go. What you got?
Okay, so I think last week or the week before I mentioned Black Christmas, an awesome horror movie set on Christmas Eve. So this time I'm going to go for a movie called Inside. It's like a French horror movie. It's got Beatrice Dalle chasing a heavily pregnant woman around a house on Christmas Eve. Wacky hijinks ensue. It's kind of like Home Alone, but not really. It's actually kind of really gross and scary. And
But with a pregnant woman.
Yeah, and extremely. It's just a super unpredictable horror movie with strong Christian values and lots of Christmassy themes. So that's my recommendation for an alternative choice.
Wait, can I just? I've never seen or heard of this film, but can you tell me, does the bad guy at any stage in the film slip and fall on the puddle of her broken water.
Oh,
Because that would be awesome.
I
want to see that.
No, she
Please tell me
doesn't.
that happens.
No, she doesn't. It doesn't go that far. That's way
damn
too
it.
gross for this
then
movie.
why not?
Yeah, exactly. Why not? Why has no one thought of this before? If you're going to have some poor pregnant woman running for her life around a house at Christmas time, I want to see a bad guy slip and fall on her broken water.
My God.
I think that one's all yours, Jess.
So that's the end of that segment. Thanks so much for
We're all
joining
alone
us.
in this segment.
The SWITCHCast is now over.
Because I'm all alone. No.
And you?
Oh, and yet another adult
You
rating
judged
for-
me
So
for
it's
having a sick person for watching Eyes Wide Shut.
Nothing
think
says
you're both
Christmas
pretty
quite like
fucked up, but
Stanley
anyway.
Kubrick.
Nothing says life quite like Stanley Kubrick.
All right, listeners, those were some varied choices, but we've given you classics, we've given you alternatives, we've given you... we've gone across the board. Judge us if you will, but now let us judge you. We want you to hit us up on social media and send us your picks for best classic and best alternative Christmas flicks that you're going to be watching during this magical time of year.
We have some great giveaways up for grabs this week. First up, we have 5 copies of American Made on Blu-ray on offer. Tom Cruise stars in the true story of Barry Seal, not a maid, but a pilot who's recruited by the CIA in the 80s to provide intelligence on the communist threat in Central America. He soon finds himself in charge of one of the biggest covert CIA operations in the history of the United States. I'm so proud of that joke. It just came to me. What did I say? I'm a genius.
I did not get that.
I didn't get the joke.
What was the joke?
Oh, I said stars in the true story of Barry Seal, not a maid, but a pilot. It's called American Made.
It's terrible, Daniel.
Oh,
I'm so glad I didn't hear that.
Right. Yeah.
I just had this image of Tom Cruise in a maid's outfit, and I thought it was really funny.
Oh, of course you did.
We also have 5 copies of 47 Meters Down on Blu-ray to give away. Fun-loving sisters Kate and Lisa, played by Mandy Moore and Claire Holt, are on holiday in Mexico when they decide to go cage diving with great white sharks. But their trip quickly turns from a dream into a nightmare when the cage breaks free of the boat and plummets to the ocean floor. Kate and Lisa are trapped with less than an hour of oxygen left in their tanks, with the only way back to the safety of the boat through 47 metres of shark-infested waters.
And finally, to celebrate our 6th anniversary, yay, we're giving you the chance to win the ultimate 80s prize pack. Yeah, we have a set of 10 classic films, including Breakfast Club, Back to the Future, E.T., Jurassic Park, Jaws, and Ferris Bueller's Day Off, with each Blu-ray in retro VHS packaging. You'll need 2 things to enter. You may want to grab a pen. Do you have a pen? I'll wait. Okay, first, tell us your favourite classic movie quote. Get to the chopper. And then give us that day's special code word. You can enter every damn day of the giveaway using these code words. And for those of you listening out there, for Thursday's code word, it is Indianapolis. For all the details on this and all of our fantastic giveaways, head to maketheswitch.com.au/comps now.
And if you haven't seen our brand new website, head over to maketheswitch.com.au now. It's a beautiful new look for both our mobile and desktop sites, so check it out and let us know what you think.
Now, before we go, we'd like to offer you some cinematic inspiration, with each of us suggesting one film that you should see this week and why. For me this week, I'm going back to 2014. It is a tiny little film which I adore every time I watch it because it is just so quirky and so different, so out of the box. It's called God Help the Girl. It made me fall in love with Emily Browning. She is just this amazing girl who kind of escapes this psychiatric institute and goes and chases this band down and eventually becomes part of the band. And it's just this really lovely friendship between 3 people. It also has Ollie Alexander and Hannah Murray in it, they're all fantastic. They have such great on-screen chemistry. And it was directed by Stuart Murdoch, who is actually part of the rock band Belle and Sebastian, which is why the music in this is so good. But from the onset, you just you go into it with this opening musical number from Emily Browning, and it is amazing. You will get transfixed and you will just love every moment of this ride. So God Help the Girl, God help you if you don't go see it. That's my pick for the week. Jessica, what about you?
Jessica. Oh, so formal. Okay, so I know everyone's thinking about Christmas at the moment and Christmas movies, as we've already spoken about. But once we get over that hurdle, you got to look towards New Year's Eve. And my annual tradition on New Year's Eve with my beau is we sit down and we watch When Harry Met Sally. It is a New Year's Eve movie. It was made in 1989. It is an absolute classic. And yes, it is the movie where Meg Ryan fakes an orgasm in Katz's Deli. If you have not seen this movie, for shame, you've had decades to do it. But I'll just give you a quick run through. It is a Rob Reiner film, the incomparable Rob Reiner, who gave us The Princess Bride, This Is Spinal Tap, and Stand By Me, just to name a few, made this film. It was also co-written by Nora Ephron. Oh, she's amazing. And it stars our dearly departed Carrie Fisher and Bruno Kirby. But it stars Meg Ryan, Billy Crystal. We love them both. It follows their friendship over 2 decades. They sort of meet each other. They hate each other. They keep meeting each other at several stages of their life until eventually they become best friends. And it's about, this beautiful friendship that they have together. And it's a wonderful romantic comedy. It is hilarious. It's absolutely beautiful. And it ends on New Year's Eve, which is why it's my annual tradition. And if you have not seen it, everyone has to go out and see the classic When Harry Met Sally.
Boy, Sam puts up with a lot.
He loves that movie. You shush.
All right, Daniel, what about you for this week?
Well, I was reminded a few days ago about how much I really responded and loved this film, so I am going to recommend this week Steven Spielberg's 2005 film War of the Worlds.
That's a good one.
One of his most underrated films, I think. That's it. I'm done. You can go. Keep going.
Okay.
Finally, Jake, what have you got for us this week?
So this week I talked about anime and Christmas movies. So I'm going to recommend a anime Christmas movie called Tokyo Godfathers. It came out in 2003. It's by a director called Satoshi Kon, who has passed away, but he was one of, if not, the greatest anime directors. It's about 3 vagabonds who, or outsiders, living in Tokyo. They've fallen upon hard times, and on Christmas Eve they find a baby in some garbage. The baby's alive, so that's pretty cool, and they decide to try and find the baby's parents. Really awesome movie. It's funny, it's sad, it has like a really nice message as well. It's like that uniquely Japanese thing where all members of society sort of pitch together to help someone, a stranger out. Yeah, just a really, really touching film, and well worth seeking out. Tokyo Godfathers.
Cool. Well, some fantastic suggestions there. And you can find the links to all the articles we've talked about on this week's podcast at maketheswitch.com.au. Please subscribe to SWITCHCast on iTunes or your favorite podcast platform, and don't forget to rate us. And stay in touch on Twitter. I'm at Charlie_David, Jess.
At Miss Jess_Switch.
Daniel.
At Daniel Lamon.
And Jake.
At Jake Chatty.
Like it, follow it. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at MakeTheSwitchAU to stay up to date with all the latest reviews, news, trailers, and giveaways.
And you can find all the notes and links to everything we've discussed on this week's podcast, as well as other episodes, by visiting switchcast.com.au.
On next week's show, it's finally here. Star Wars: The Last Jedi bursts into cinemas, and we find out how Rian Johnson has handled the much-loved franchise return.
Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you all next week.